Hello, my little ninjas. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And welcome to your Wake and Bake News at 7 p.m. I'm your host, Moxie. And tonight I have many videos for you. It's going to take a minute to get through them, so I will do so as... Who is signing comments under my name? I will do so momentarily. We'll get to planting videos for you in just a minute. Who keeps doing comments under my name? Let's see. Oh, I forgot my list of videos. I am so unprepared today. Let's see. Except for I have 10 fucking clips for you. Are you sure it sounds okay? Are you sure it sounds okay? All right. Let's see. Okay, so where were we? Right, I have video clips. I have, we were talking about the COVID-19 funds for, all these states have this emergency COVID-19 funding, right? They call it America something repair plan or whatever the fuck it is. And it's all this emergency COVID funding, right? And Biden is telling people to take the COVID funding, telling cities to take the COVID funding and employ hire new cops, right? So all I can think is, I guess that the COVID funding isn't all that important, right? The emergency COVID funding that we have to send out to everyone isn't really that necessary. If they're saying, oh yeah, use it on this, go ahead, don't worry. That or they're planning on being a whole bunch more COVID money coming along. There's more COVID money coming. Anybody want to bet on that one? This is a call-in show. You can call anytime you want. My name's Mike. Feel free. I'm a very friendly guy sometimes. And the rest of the time, I'm tolerable. So, more or less. So, So I have videos. I'm going to play videos momentarily because I'm going to be here. You know what? I had a bong hit like fucking 4 hours ago, and I don't even feel like I need another bong hit. It's amazing. What the heck was that? Lemon shortbread. So nice. Let's see, where were we? What were we saying here? Something about blah, 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 blah. Oh, right. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a show about Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt. Who murdered Ashley Babbitt? That's my show for tomorrow. Don't any of you steal my title. Because I want to know who murdered Ashley Babbitt. And I hope that many, many, many of you want to know who murdered Ashley Babbitt also. Because she did not deserve that. And the fucked up piece of shit who murdered her deserves to go to prison on murder charges, right? I mean, Derek Chauvin was a cop restraining somebody who died. This person shot a kill shot at Ashley Babbitt going through a window, unarmed, completely, no problem whatsoever. Boom! Make an example of her. So that all these fuckwads know. We'll kill shot them too. We'll get that tomorrow. Until then, I'm going to go get my list of videos and I'll be right back and we'll think about possibly having a bong hit. Be right back, just 1 minute.
Sometimes life can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes the weight of the world can be too much to bear. Sometimes you need to stop worrying and take a deep breath. Sometimes you need cannabis. Introducing Brightside, high-quality cannabis delivered right to your door. Brightside offers an extensive menu of strains and products to meet your needs. Choose the experience you want, and we'll send you the dankest herb, the real sticky icky, some top-shelf marijuana. If you like what we send you, keep the whole jar. We'll even include some nugs for you to blaze. As part of Discovery, you'll get to try new strains and products. Side effects may include euphoria, increased appetite, uncontrollable giggles, elevated sensitivity to musical dopeness, and reduced anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol may also induce feelings of existential well-being and relentless optimism. With a Brightside subscription, you can get it once a month, once a week, or whenever you want, all at a price you'll like. And yes, this is a real company.
Do you know who I am?
You're the wizard.
Ask your doctor if cannabis is right for you. It probably is. Keep it Brightside.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and have a bong hit because that sounds nice. Whoa, where did that come from? Pretty, look at that. This is the second pretty thing I found today. When I was walking the dogs, I found a $5 bill. Wow, I was like, is that a $5 bill? And I looked at it, I was like, maybe it's a $500 bill. Nope, $5 bill. So I got that going for me, which is nice. And they got this lovely, and by the way, I'd really like to get some more weed. So if anybody wants to help out with me there's this strain at the weed store that I'd really like to get called Cake Donut. It's an apple fritter cross. And so far, I have not been able to try the apple fritter strain. And I've wanted to for at least a year now. I'm trying to get some seeds. But I am broke as fuck. In case anybody's wondering. Come out here every fucking day, do a live show. I see motherfuckers sit at slot machines and fucking pop money into goddamn slot machines, and they're getting $20 donations, $50 donations, one after another. What the fuck is that shit? I come here every fucking day. I gotta beg. What the fuck is happening? Ooh, that looks good. So, if you want to help out with me getting some cake donuts, there's clickable links in the text body of the video, or you can go to moxnews.com, or I will post links in the chat momentarily. But I thought we'd have a little puff first, because we can, right? I hope you can too, and I hope you'd like to join me. If you would care to join me in a big fat bong hit, simply follow me and do exactly as you see. So nice. So nice. All right. So, let's see. As I was saying, I'm about $20 shy of being able to afford my where the fuck did that go? I'm about $20 shy of being able to afford my strain that I've been wanting to try for a long time. It's an apple fritter strain called Cake Donut. And it's produced by some breeders that I have a lot of respect for. So if anybody wants to help me out with that, I need like $20 to buy some cake donuts. Otherwise, I have videos. I have a ton of videos. Look at all these videos I made for you. Fauci vaccine mandates, Surfside Israelis, in Surfside, where the building, the condo collapse was. Today, they gave, it might have been yesterday, they gave, I think it was today, they gave the Israeli military personnel on site, they gave them all medals. Which, again, I do not understand why the Israelis are conducting a military operation on the United States, in the United States. Can anybody answer that for me? Because I would like to understand what the fuck the Israelis are doing in the United States, doing fucking military operations. Okay? I don't like it. I mean, I do not like it. And I don't know how anyone else can feel comfortable with this bullshit. Sorry, I don't mean to yell. Most of the time. That's a lie. I yell when I want to yell. All I'm saying is... Lemon shortbread. I want some cake donuts to go with it. Lemon shortbread and cake donuts. Doesn't that sound good? Fuck yeah. Alright, so where were we? And I put clickable links in the chat in case anybody's wondering. So medals to Israeli military working at the Surfside condo collapse. I have a real problem with that, and I hope you do too. And I want to know, I don't know why the Israeli military is being honored separately from all the other people who came all from around the world that were civilians to help out, you know. And then all of a sudden the Israeli the Israeli military's here. I feel so much better now. Don't you feel better knowing the Israeli military is conducting military operations within these United States, lower 48? Doesn't that make you feel better? Makes me feel so much better. What the fuck is happening at the Pentagon? What is it? Is it Israeli fucking manned also? Is the Israel in charge of the fucking Pentagon? Is that what's happening? Because it seems like that's what's fucking happening! In case any of you aren't keeping up on that. I'm just saying. Let's see. Oh, and I have a lovely video from... DW from the German news in which they show protesters occupying parliament, right? And it looked really familiar to me considering that they went up and they took over the parliamentary podium, right? And they made their statement and they pushed their way in. To me, it's fucking beautiful. But my point is that is highly unlikely that these people are going to be called domestic terrorist or even locked up. They seem to be able to walk out. In fact, there are a lot of business owners. And so I find that very interesting that, again, this foreign country where the government just despises freedom and all this stuff, they push their way into parliament. The protesters take over parliament. And then... I don't hear anybody calling them domestic terrorists. I'm like, what? What? But in the land of the free, in the people's house, right? We gotta make examples of these fuckwads. I'm so tired of this government. I'm so tired of the people. I'm tired of the people buying into these bullshit labels, right? Conservative, liberal. You know, I'm so tired of it, okay? Democrat. I'm telling you, the people in charge, every single one of them, is a giant piece of shit. And somehow you identify as that. I identify with those people. And I'm not saying the Democrats are a giant piece of shit or the Republicans are a giant piece of shit. I'm saying every single goddamn piece of shit in Congress is a motherfucking piece of shit! And they need to be treated as such. Run out on a fucking rail. Permanent. Okay? And I'm so tired of the people identifying with them. What the fuck? Oh, Antifa. Fucking, the Proud Boys. Oh, fucking labels suck! All you're doing is painting yourself into a corner for absolutely no fucking reason. Are you that goddamn lonely? You need fucking friends out of fucking Antifa or the Proud Boys? Give me a fucking break! The fuck is happening in this country? Ha! I'm feeling much better now. That was a good bong. Wasn't that a good bong hit? Oh my god! It charged me right up. Can you see that? I was just like... You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Why do I sound angry to you? Fucking Israel in American soil conducting military operations. Yeah, I'm fucking angry. Maybe. I don't know yet. I'll decide later. While I'm gardening. While I'm gardening, I think I'll decide if I'm angry or not. All right, people. This is a call-in show. You can see the number right up there. I am on fire! I know you want to talk to me. So, shall we begin? Because that would be nice. I'm going to go ahead and play a video since no one's calling. Let's see. I don't want to play too long of a video, but I want to play let's play this video about motherfucking Israeli military getting medals for conducting an Israeli military operation on U.S. soil. Just me? I don't know.
Well, just minutes ago in Surfside, Florida, residents, local first responders, and officials delivered a heartfelt tribute to the Israeli search crew that has worked so tirelessly in the rubble of the collapsed condominium there. That crew heading home with the gratitude of a heartbroken community. CNN's Natasha Chen joins us with the latest. So, Natasha, describe the scene there for us.
Yeah, Pamela, the Israeli rescue team, the Israeli Defense Forces, they will be returning home tomorrow. So tonight, the local leaders held a ceremony at a church a few blocks away from here, thanked them along with other first responders. And Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava gave a couple of keys to the city to the team, gave some medals to them, really a deep appreciation for these partners and friends they've developed here. And they also met with family members of the victims too, who thanked them for their services. After all this wrapped up just a few minutes ago, they actually returned to the pile to continue working tonight, even as it's raining now, even though they're leaving tomorrow. The pace of finding people has really picked up over the past week, especially after the demolition of the remaining part of the building, so that search teams could really access more parts of the area than they were able to before. But still, families are awaiting news about their loved ones, because while 86 people have been confirmed dead, there are still 43 people potentially unaccounted for. We did, however, hear from some family members that CNN has talked to over the past couple of weeks, including Pablo Rodriguez, whose mother and grandmother had been missing after the collapse. He tweeted today that they were identified and that it was the best bad news that he could have hoped for, that he was really struggling with this idea that they may have suffered, and to confirm that they didn't was a bit of a relief for him. Also among the victims was the sister of the First Lady of Paraguay, along with her husband and one of her children, along with their 23-year-old nanny. And the Paraguay Ministry of External Affairs actually tweeted that the Paraguayan president arrived in the U.S. on Friday and will be staying in Florida until Tuesday because of those family members who were identified among the victims. Pamela.
All right, Natasha Chen, thank you so much. And we'll be right back.
So, I don't know if it's just me who's bothered by Israeli military walking around with their fucking Israeli flag on their fucking shoulders, prancing around, marching like they're fucking taking over the United States. This is where they belong. I don't know if I'm the only one. What the fuck? Okay? Why are they in Florida? Because they're the best in the world at doing this? I don't think so. So why the fuck are they in Florida? I don't get it. I'm not happy about it. And I'm especially not happy that, oh, look, the Israeli military people are being honored. Fuck them. Okay? Get the fuck out of my country. Okay? They didn't even mention all the other people that got honored. I said, oh, Israeli military. Oh, Israeli people. Fuck that shit. I don't want other people's military on our shores conducting operations. Okay? Can you imagine after 9/11, right? When the Twin Towers came down, if there was fucking search crews from Israel in military outfits all over that fucking all over that fucking site, that horrific fucking site. Can you imagine what that would have been like? Can you imagine the response? Israeli military all over the site where the Twin Towers came down. Hello, caller!
Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East, Mike.
I don't give a fuck, and that's not
I'm
true.
fucking pissed off at them.
Turkey is a democracy.
Remember, Benjamin Franklin went to Israel to try to get
That's a fucking lie!
Israel to try to help in the American Revolution.
That's a fucking lie!
We're a free country. Israel is our friend.
I don't care if Israel is our friend or not. I don't want any of our friends in military outfits conducting fucking military operations on our fucking shores. I don't give it whether they're friends or not.
Jeez, friendly, Mike.
What?
Israel is not picking on LGBTQG.
I don't give a fuck!
And they defend us from all the Arab terrorists.
Oh yeah, they're just not swatting every hornet's nest on the face of the planet. They're defending
They
us.
uphold human rights worldwide. That's why they have so many friends. You're anti-Semitic, Mike.
Fuck you.
You're anti-Semitic.
I'm not. I'm anti everything. Okay?
I can tell.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the labels. I can't stand the fucking labels anymore, man. I can't stand.
You're like an enemy of Israel, and Israel is our friend.
Fuck Israel! Can I not made that clear yet on this goddamn program? Fuck Israel!
You know what Israel stands for, right?
I don't give a shit!
Insane, sadistic, racist, elite, asshole.
Whatever, dude. Do you know what Adidas stands for? You know what the tennis shoes Adidas, do you know what that stands for?
It's like a Jaguar or something.
All day I dream about fucking is sex, but fucking, you know. All day I dream about sex. That's what Adidas stands for.
Did
So-
you
what?
take your pills today, Mike?
I so tired of taking pills. You know the fucking words that I hate most saying? Oh, I gotta take my pills. Fuck! I hate saying that more than anything else, dude.
Dude, chill out, man.
Suck my motherfucking dick! Don't tell me what to do!
You're going crazy on the internet, Mike. It's just a call-in show. You don't have to take it that seriously.
What the fuck are you talking about? I take it as seriously as I want to take it. Don't tell me how to be!
Israel is our friend, man.
I don't give a fuck! I don't care!
They help us in all sorts of ways we can't even figure out.
I just don't want foreign soldiers conducting operations inside the U.S. military, inside the U.S. Boundaries. What now?
Haiti is invading the United States right now. Why don't you concentrate on the real enemy? Haiti!
Haiti, I don't care. I don't care. I can't believe that Joe Biden hasn't ended the blockade on Cuba already. Fucking Obama did it. What the hell's your problem, Biden? Jesus, man. Can't you see the people are starving there, you fuckwad?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, I agree.
Fuck Joe Biden. Fuck Donald Trump for reinstating that crap.
Well, we think the deaths of 500,000 children is worth it.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Yeah, neither do I. But I saw the clip. The fucking Jews in Florida with the uniforms on and the patches, the little Boy Scout uniforms.
They're not fucking Jews. They're Israeli military. That's the fucking problem. I don't give a shit about any of the fucking Jews that went in to work on that building. What I care about is this goddamn military operation on our shores. This is easy to understand.
And it looked like, you know, all this, everybody's smiling, and it's all friendly, and hi, we're having a press conference, and everything's okay. It's like, where's the grieving widow? Where's the orphan children? How come everybody's smiling?
Yeah.
A bunch of people just got smashed.
Yeah.
Why is everybody smiling?
Right. I agree.
It's sick. It's sick. So everywhere Israel comes, sick shit happens. So watch out, Florida. They're coming for your children.
I don't know what. I look. This is all I'm saying. I don't want any fucking military conducting operations within the United States. Again, imagine if in the rubble of the Twin Towers there was all these fucking Israelis in military fucking outfits. What the fuck would you think about that? I mean, I'm pretty sure people would have, especially the conspiracy theorists, would have a little something to say about that.
Well, they already did, man. You know about the art students, right? Israeli art students helped wire the building.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they were all Israelis.
Yeah.
They were,
okay. Well, look, this is what I'm saying. Is this is where we're at. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want any military. Okay, I don't want. And they weren't all over the rubble, from what I understand. At least not in military outfits. This is what I'm talking about.
They were long gone,
Yeah.
man.
I don't know about long gone, but they were gone from that site.
I told you last week, it's all just a PR stunt, and everything you see on TV, including Poopy Pants Joe Biden.
That wasn't
public relations.
the Surfside. There's more to the Surfside thing. That's what the Israeli military is doing there. Plus, they're trying to get us used to the idea of Israel military being on our shores. Obviously, oh, they're the good guys. They're helping out. We don't need their fucking help. They need our fucking help to the tune of $40 billion.
Yeah, that's a lot of bread. That's a lot of dough. That could feed a lot of people. But instead, we got to help them because they're poor. They're the victims, and poor Israel, and we just got to help them out. And they're under attack by crazy people, and God gave them the land, and they're the world's greatest religion, and we all bow down to them. And
they're the chosen people. That's all you gotta say. Jesus Christ, man.
So you need to take fucking bong hits.
I just took a motherfucking bong hit.
Well, take it out. Take 3 more, dude. Mellow out. You're chasing away all your viewers with your crazy...
I don't give a fuck.
You're like, oh,
I don't give a fuck, okay? You don't want to watch the goddamn show. There's plenty of other fucking streams to watch. Go watch them. You'll come back. You'll come crawling back. I know.
Triple Jack on crack, man. You're like, what the hell is going on with you? Got a satellite in the background, got chemtrails, marijuana. It's like the whole world's going insane.
Except for the marijuana part.
Yeah, can't we all just get a bong?
Again.
I got a bong. I got a bong.
Good for you. When was the last time you used it?
An hour ago.
Oh, because you never use a bong when you're on here. You sucking on something else.
I had a friend over and we used it. So it was a rare occasion for me, but I prefer a pipe. I used to roll joints, but that's too much labor. So
it takes too long to get it into my lungs.
No, man,
I have to wait 60 seconds.
You gotta sit there and fucking crunch it up and then roll it and then you smoke it. If the fan's on, the joint burns wrong. Your whole day is ruined because the joint is burning sideways.
You're right. You're making me need a fucking another bong hit, dude.
So tired of tragedy in my life when my joint burns sideways.
Oh, it's so hard being Mike. Oh.
So, God, well, fuck Israel. I don't even want to. I don't want to see the fucking PR stuff that's going on. And it's so. If I was down there, I wouldn't be smiling. That's a serious situation. You got
that's just not called for. That's inappropriate. That's the way to phrase that. That's completely inappropriate.
Yeah, 125 or 30 dead. Well, there's still 40 people missing, and no, they're dead. They're squished, and they got worms crawling out their eyeballs right now.
Well,
funny fucking situation.
I mean, you don't necessarily know for sure that they're squished because in that situation, my guess is, I would seriously consider if I was not in the building, being dead. Do I want to be dead? Because it seems like it'd be nice to be dead.
Well, when I've seen people in Gaza crawl out of wreckage, maybe 12, 13 days later. But after...
No, what I'm saying is if they weren't in the building already, right, they might have just wandered off and said, yeah, done with that place. It's not like they're like, oh, yeah, I'm over here, necessarily. You know what I mean? It's not, all I'm saying is that if I was in a building that got smashed completely where my apartment was, but I wasn't in the building at the time, I would think whether or not I actually wanted to tell people that I'm still alive.
So you want to collect the insurance payment. That's what you're saying.
I don't give a fuck. Dude, when did I ever act like I care about money?
Insurance fraud Mike wants to fake his own death and pay
No.
the insurance payment.
I just want the government to get away from me. You don't own me, I'm dead.
No, man. Anybody with half a brain is going to say, hey, I wasn't in the building, I survived, I'm here, and I'm going to call my mom and dad.
Well, I must not have half a brain then.
Yeah, well, people in that situation, they raise their hand and say, I'm not dead. So,
Yeah,
you're
well,
not dead, Mike.
Again, I don't do a lot of things that other people do. It's just, I shit and I piss, but other than that, pretty much, my own way, so.
Yeah, well, I can tell that, man. But, dude, he's scaring away all his customers.
Again, I don't give a fuck. Seriously, look. I came out here and do this the way that I do it. If you don't like the way that I do it, piss off.
I moved my pants while I was dialing. It was like, oh, God, should I talk to this madman? He was like, oh, no, don't call Mike, but my fingers did to talk to
Don't make me crawl down the phone and beat you to death.
I got you on speed dial. I got Steve fucking McClanahan on speed dial.
You know what? I'm sure Steve McClanahan would love for you to exchange phone numbers with him. He won't stop calling this house.
I like Steve, but not that much, okay?
He calls...
Don't give him my phone number. But, me and Steve have talked live on the air before. We get along great.
Yeah,
Mr.
well.
Crocodile Whisper Dundee, who fucking ate an alligator. When do I actually act like I want money? $90 for a $15 Subway gift card. I don't know what that means. But, yeah, man, it's just another day. What else you got lined up besides the...
You think $9 is money, asshole? Is that what you think? You think $9 is fucking money? I guess for someone in a van down by the river, $9 might be fucking money, okay? But it won't buy lunch, in case you don't know that already, which I'm pretty sure you do.
Well, Crocodile Dundee can get his own fucking food. He can eat alligators raw.
I'm sure he's got fucking plenty of food stamps.
Fry up their eyeballs and eat their tongues on like popcorn on a steak. So Crocodile Dundee can do anything while he's whispering. So Steve is okay. I don't know why he doesn't call in.
The fucking pussy.
Yeah, well, today, Steve, just get your game on and call up Mike the Madman Mike, because he's going to eat your brains like jam, Steve.
Brains.
Spread your brains on toast and eat them like jam, Crocodile Steve. But what else you got lined up, Mike?
I don't know.
Okay, well, I guess I'll just have to be surprised. There ain't shit going on. Oh, Cuba and Haiti. That's about it, man. Cuba and Haiti.
Okay.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
Okay,
Later
thanks for
on.
calling. See ya.
Take care.
Anybody want to have a bong hit? I do. That was a good idea. Have another bong hit. I like that idea. He should call more often. Very interesting. Very interesting. You guys remember Laughing? You remember Laughing? It was a pretty... I don't know why we don't have shows like that on TV. I mean, what is the closest thing to Laughing that's on TV now? Because that was just like a bunch of people getting together to have a party and then cracking silly jokes, right? That's one of the kinds of show that I would love to make. I've always wanted to make a TV show, other than the one I did make. But I've always wanted to do something, that's like network friendly or whatever. Not particularly friendly, but, edgy friendly. Like, you guys know the Upright Citizens Brigade, or I really would love to make a TV show like Xena, Princess Warrior. Oh my God, I would love to make a TV show like that. Just Amazons everywhere and loincloths. That's my kind of show. Man, would I like to be a director or something like that. Or really, writer. Let's see. I'm much more of a writer than a director. Although I can direct, I don't like to be in charge like that. I like to be behind the scenes and go, ooh, this is a good idea. Bounce it off people's idea. Instead of going, no, you do this. I want it done this way. But I guess you have to be that way sometimes if you want to get what you're looking for. Let's see. Did we play another video? I don't think we played another video. Boy, that weed is really good. And I'm asking for help to get this weed that I want to get called Cake Donut. But I'm fucking broke. I'll come out here and share it with you, I promise. Cake Donut. Doesn't that sound good? It's an apple fritter cross. Apple fritters. It's supposed to taste like sweet and sour candy green apples. Making my mouth water already. I haven't got to try an apple fritter strain yet. I've been really wanting to try an apple fritter strain. Because I love apple fritters. I guess. I think that must be the reason I love apple fritters. But I haven't tried that yet. I'm looking. I found one place that has seeds, but it doesn't look like what I'm looking for. So I'll keep looking as far as seeds go. But I found this stuff, and I really want to try it. And I'm $20 short. So if anybody wants to cover me on $20 for the apple fritters, cake donuts, let me know. Okay, or you can just click the link below in the text body of this video, or you'll find video links, or you'll find whatever, blah, blah, blah. That is really good weed, dude. Lemon shortcake. You guys ever have that Las Vegas lemon skunk? This is a Las Vegas lemon skunk cross. Love that Las Vegas lemon skunk. I remember I was driving in the car with Craig and Sam, and I was smoking that Las Vegas lemon skunk out of my vape pen. And Sam said, "What is that?" I said, "It's lemon skunk." He said, "Okay, because it smells like a skunk that's been stuffed with a bunch of lemons and then run over by an 18-wheeler 16 times." I'm like, well, that does sound pretty good. I don't know. I used to smoke so much skunk all the time when I was a kid. When I was like, 16, 17, 20. I used to smoke skunk. And it got to the point to where in the neighborhood where I lived, there was skunks. I seriously doubt there's any more. But every once in a while, you'd smell a skunk. And I only got to where that smell was actually good. I like that smell. It's earthy. Smells like dessert. So have you seen? There's some kind of an advertisement with Shaq, right? And he's he's like sitting at a campfire. He's wearing some kind of like a fur, right? And he's cooking stuff on like a stick or a branch over a flame, over an open flame, and these guys come along and they say, hey, why don't you come back out of the wilderness with us? And he's like, okay, but I just wait until my skunk is done. And I was like, and they're like, oh, is that what that smell is? Like, skunk. Shaq is doing the skunk. I really love Earth. I really am gonna miss her when she's gone. I guess that's why I'm so wrapped up in this, mass extinction thing. I love Earth. I think that's probably why I'm here, because I didn't want to miss one more opportunity to enjoy her wonder, before she's gone. And that's why I talk about it. I just hate the idea of losing her on our watch, I really do love Earth. So in case I haven't made that clear yet, I need to go heat up my tea. I'm going to play a video about anti-woke movement. No. Okay, I'm going to play the video from the German news talking about the occupation or the protest that took place in Parliament. These people busted open the doors and went into Parliament and demanded that they listen to them, and it basically took over Parliament, right? And it looks very, very familiar to me. But I don't hear people calling them terrorists or, insurrectionists or any of this bullshit. It's just a story about people taking over Parliament. Again, I don't know if Parliament is supposed to be the people's house, but the people on January 6th that protested in the U.S. Capitol took over the people's house. So whatever else happened, I know that for sure. So I thought you might find this interesting because it looks so familiar. You know what I mean?
Tonight, in the former Soviet Republic, Georgia, opposition lawmakers are demanding that the prime minister resign over the death of journalist Alexander Lashkarava. The cameraman was found dead in his home over the weekend, days after he had been attacked by a right-wing mob. Georgian police say they have detained 20 people for violence against journalists and the media.
Chaotic scenes as journalists and opposition politicians pushed their way into Georgia's parliament. They occupied the speaker's chair and demanded that the prime minister resign. They blamed the ruling party for attacks on journalists and support for violent groups. Among the protesters, the founder of the TV news channel, where cameraman Alexander Lashkarava had worked until he was found dead on Sunday. Georgian police have not said how the journalist died. But days earlier, Lashkarava had needed hospital treatment after being beaten by far-right activists as he filmed anti-LGBTQ protests. Far-right and church supporters attacked LGBTQ campaigners who were planning to hold pride events in the capital, Tbilisi. And last week, Georgia's Prime Minister had called the planned Pride events unacceptable for many parts of Georgian society. And on Monday, he dismissed the fresh protests over Lashkarava's death. It's yet another failed conspiracy against the state, masterminded by anti-state and anti-church forces, which failed and will never be successful in our country. But the protesters have promised to keep challenging Georgian society's conservative values and demanding that the Prime Minister resign.
Well, from Tbilisi, I'm joined now by Nana Aborjanidze. She's the channel executive of TV Pirveli. That's where the cameraman worked who was found dead over the weekend. It's good to have you on the program. Let me ask you, Nana, you and Mr. Lashkarava worked together at TV Pirveli. I mean, what was your reaction when you first learned that he had died?
First of all, thank you for having me and for having our channel covering this story on your channel. Yes, we worked together, and he was a very good professional, actually. To be honest, he was one of the best cameramen we had. That's why he was on that location that day. And he was a decent person, very motivated, and worked really hard. So my first reaction, actually, when I heard first, when I read it as if his mom died. And my first thought was that, oh, they made his mom die because he was beaten up so bad. And then it took me a few minutes to really digest that not his mom, but he died after this terrible assault. So my reaction was just, we were devastated, and we still are, because it's his funeral tomorrow, and we really don't know how to cope with this. We really don't.
Nana, let me ask you, is there anything that he could have done while he was covering the story last week? Do you think that could have attracted these right-wing hooligans or these people, this mob? Is there anything he could have done to attract their hate?
The problem was that they, the journalist Miranda and Alexandra, they got caught up in the stairways of the building where the Pride organizers were located. So they were located in the upper floor, and so they were just coming down the stairs from shooting something upstairs. And this violent groups entered the entrance, and then they started running up the staircase. So they really got caught up in that situation where all the anger, they got the victims of all the anger of these violent groups. So they had nowhere to go. They were caught up in these stairways, and they first started attacking the journalist, Miranda. You have to see the 1-year-old young girl, and they started assaulting her. And so he took charge, saying, hey, you don't, like, we're journalists, don't touch us. But then it just was very violent. It's very tragic. And how they tell the story about more than 20 people, up to 30 people were beating him up, and they beat him up to death. And this is very, very tragic.
The Georgian Prime Minister has described the protests, and I'm quoting here, as a failed conspiracy against the state. I mean, does that mean that the government is not going to be held, to account for what has happened? Is anyone going to be held responsible for the death of your colleague?
It feels like they're avoiding that responsibility. That's the worst part. Today, Prime Minister made the statements, anti-constitutional statements. I can't call any other ways, because he said that majority of people are against this, so he denied the rights of minorities. Today was just a shocking press conference. Not only they're not taking the responsibility over what they did last Monday, but they're completely trying with all this sabotage and everything to justify all the mischief they did, because there were no law enforcement by the LGBTQ office at that day, where they knew that Pride violent groups would be there. Anyone who thought that law enforcement should have been their first place, right? That's their place where they should have protected. And there was nobody to protect, neither our journalists nor the organizers of the Pride.
Well,
so, it was...
Our condolences to you on the loss of your colleague. Nana Aborjanidze, channel executive of TV Pirveli. We appreciate your time and your insights tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
That girl's name was Nana. Do you see that? I like that name, Nana. I like that a lot. That's a pretty name. Kind of rolls off your tongues. I hate me Nana. Okay, so there was a person holding up a sign, and it said, "Is this the history you want your children to see?" And I keep saying this, only I'm saying it in a bigger way. I'm saying it about the whole earth, you know, not just our country. I mean, our country is just falling apart. And I'm telling you, these labels where you identify as this or that, this is what's causing it. Okay, you know, again, Proud Boys, Antifa, liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats. It's all these labels. There's a bazillion of them, and it's not just that people love to stamp them on you, like idiot, fuckwad, dickhole. You know, people love to stamp these on other people, but apparently they love to stamp them on themselves also. I proudly wear the moniker of stoner, but that being said, it's because it makes me smile, not because I'm a Republican and I'm angry. I'm a Democrat and I'm angry. I'm a conservative and I'm angry. I'm a Proud Boy and I'm angry. No, we're Americans and we're angry. And we're going to take this fuckwad piece of shit government down. Okay? You identify with these labels, and then it's like, oh, they're one of those! Whatever label that is. And instead of seeing us all as Americans and the common enemy that we all have. I mean, these people that took over, in the beginning of that story I just played, these people took over Parliament, right? They just pushed their way in, forced their way in, and they just took over. And it was totally a rumble. I mean, they were just going at it, right? And we took over the parliamentarians' platforms, you know, podium, speaker, whatever, like they did in the Senate or the House of Representatives. I think it was the Senate. Hello, caller.
Hi, Mike. How are you? This is David calling in.
Hey, David. It's good to hear from you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. I've been working a lot, so I've been missing a lot of your shows, but I was watching tonight, and I saw the video you just played about the journalist, cameraman that got killed in Georgia.
Yeah.
And it got me doing a little internet search, and according to the Committee to Protect Journalists website, there are 18 journalists killed in Israel and the occupied Palestinian territory between 1992 and 2021.
Huh.
So
I would have expected more.
That video was, and I really think it was powerful, and obviously it's a very big issue over there, you know, to have a journalist killed because it's out of the ordinary, you know, for a place like Georgia, which was under Soviet control for a long time and kind of gained its independence.
Yeah, I don't really know what it's like there. I know that they were having problems for a long time, but it looks, you know, it looks pretty right-wing, whatever's going on there.
Yeah, but I'm just kind of like making a side comparison, like if it's out of the norm in a state of Georgia, which is a relatively organized society and whatnot, or a place like Palestine, it really like shows like the pressure they've been under as a territory, and 18 journalists killed within like a 30-year period. That's
I'm really surprised the number is not bigger.
It kind of puts things in comparison.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I'm really surprised the number isn't higher. I mean, considering, you know, I mean, you know, stuff like when they hit the UN compound, they told all the women and children to go to the UN compound in Gaza, and then they struck the UN compound like repeatedly with airstrikes. And I'm really surprised, like there, journalists didn't die there and stuff like that. Like like a regular thing, like 2 or 3 or 4 a year. I'm really surprised because journalists really generally mix themselves into the shit. When you're covering something like that. Yeah. So I'm really surprised it's not more. Yeah, go ahead.
No, on the website here, I was just going to say that most of the fatalities from the journalists are classified as a crossfire type of death.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And also, like, it would have to be something that pretty much would probably have to happen, like, either on camera or in front of a lot of people for it to be recorded over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I absolutely know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's probably like the same thing with our police state here in the United States.
I think so. I think
there's probably a lot higher number that's actually recorded.
Yeah, well, if it wasn't for all these people with cameras, there definitely would be a lot fewer cops getting popped. There's no doubt about that.
I really appreciate in that video that we saw how the journalists got together immediately.
Yeah.
And stormed Parliament. That was really, really cool.
It was awesome, dude. I think this is what politics should be like. You see those, like, I think in Korea they have these fucking rumbles where one side just goes at the other. If they did that here, I might have a little bit more respect with them. But here they're like, oh yeah, we reached across the aisle to come together on a compromise. Fuck you. You're compromising the future of this fucking country, and I'm tired of it.
I've seen videos of them doing stuff in Europe, in France and Spain, I think it is.
Yeah.
Where they just walk into Parliament, pick the person up, carry them out of the building, and throw them in a garbage can and embarrass them in front of everybody, and their career is over after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've seen videos like that. It happens in Europe because the people stand up,
Yeah, well, I think that possibly guns might not be nearly as prevalent in European countries, so maybe it might be slightly easier to walk into something like that. I don't know. Those people on January 6th, nothing would have happened if they just let them walk inside that building. Cleared out the fucking whiny little I'm so afraid right now representatives, so-called representatives, and let the people wander. Because, the second they got in there and there wasn't cops beating on them, they're like, whoa, look at this place. It's awesome. It was obvious they weren't there to have a fight. They just wanted their damn representatives to hear their fucking voices.
Exactly. But there's some odd things about that because, like, we all know that the crowd had been a different flavor. Like, they would have had 10 times the security, but they knew who those people were, and they didn't staff properly on purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
the whole event seemed a little staged to me.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Why would you have that little security for those people at such a crazy time in U.S. politics? It all seems set up to me.
Yeah, well, I've shown videos about 6 Seattle police officers that have been identified as taking part in the rally and the protest in Washington, D.C. And they, all I keep thinking is that, if there was six of them that had been identified from the Seattle Police Department, imagine how many across our state and across our country were there, right? And then you think about, all these people who have the bear spray and the spray to go and attack and stuff. You think, which I'm really surprised nobody had lasers, because those lasers work pretty damn good. But if you're spraying bear spray, if you're coming prepared with bear spray, you got to think, what kind of person would do that? And then automatically cops, when you realize that there was fucking probably hundreds of cops there, right, that were in civilian clothes, my bet is they all brought the fucking pepper spray and the bear spray or whatever the fuck they're spraying back at the cops. So there's some shit going on, like you're saying, that just doesn't look right.
Yeah, there's like a lot of weird things that have been happening, like in retrospect, like with ever since the George Floyd murder, and then that kid that went up to Wisconsin and actually killed people. Those videos were crazy, and it's like, what is going on there? Because, like, you have the police just chilling outside the city, and they're talking to the kids with the guns, and they're saying, thanks for doing our job for us and going through the ghetto for us, because we're too chicken to go through to do it ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is
Real
what I
people
this
end
is
up getting
exactly
killed.
this is exactly what I keep saying is that we don't need more police. We need the fucking police to do their fucking job, which they're not. You know, get real about these fucking victimless crimes and move on to shit that actually matters.
Yeah. The more I listen to your show, it's like the more I think about, like, you know, wait a minute, the cops don't do any good. Like, they just don't. Like, they just.
I know there's good cops out there. I know there are, but I'm telling you, there's this. It's like an old boy network where they're trying to one up each other. You know, when they're by themselves, you know, each one's an individual, and you can talk to them, you know, and maybe work something out. But when they're in a pack, when they're running together, man, they are seriously dangerous. And
Yeah, I would imagine it's like any of the jobs that we do as well. You know, if you go to your job and you want to be good at your job, you want to excel at the job, so you have to follow the policies that are set. And like the way the policies are set, like they can get away with murder there, you know, as long as they don't get caught doing it.
Yeah.
They can get away with murder anytime, you know.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you know,
I've played videos where I think there's one in my favorites that I posted of some talking head. I think it was Van Jones, but I'm not sure. And he's saying, we all know that cops carry guns to throw down at the scene of a crime. We all know that. Not just guns, they also carry drugs.
Yeah, whatever they have to do. I've seen the videos of the cops, like, selling drugs. Where, like, you see it in their hand. And
yeah.
It's amazing to me, number one, like, as a cop, you'd be dumb enough to get caught on camera when everyone's wearing body camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're wearing body camera, your partner's wearing body camera, the cops that are around you, you are on audio and video, and you still get caught planning drugs. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah. I hear you. I can't believe half of the shit that people put on video these days.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, every time we see something on TV, because I don't believe what I saw on 9/11, like, the way that they told that story. Like, after doing research, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
You know, I had
Yeah, well, you know, what I like to say about 9/11 is that I don't know exactly what happened on that day, but there is something I know for sure. And what I know for sure is that the U.S. government is lying about what happened on that day. I know that for sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean, yeah, on a side note, if anyone wants to research Professor Stephen A. Smith, he discovered thermate in the dust on the plaza of the World Trade Center in the buildings. Because when the buildings came down, the dust went into all the businesses and shops around the building collapse.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He found thermate in the dust. So that was like scientific proof that it was thermate that cut the iron ores in the middle of the columns of the buildings
right
on 45-degree angles. You can see it in the photos.
I've seen it for sure. And the reason that the thermite thing is important, in case you don't understand, is because if the towers were brought down by plain diesel fuel, which not going to happen, then there wouldn't be thermite in the dust particles found in businesses around. You know, it's not something that just find in nature or whatever.
Is it the melting point of steel is like 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, or approximately that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit higher than. Yeah, I think it's a little higher than that. But go ahead.
I was going to say jet fuel can burn in a limited environment at like a temperature of like half of that. Like
Yeah.
if it's a controlled environment.
Yeah,
and that wasn't a controlled environment.
And it's gonna.
Plus, it's on the top of the building and not the bottom of the building.
Right, and it's gonna burn up very, very fast. So, almost regardless of how much there is of it.
Yeah, I kind of forgot where we were at.
Well, it's just we were talking about the Parliament issue in Georgia, where they raided the Parliament, and I just really like the Parliament part because they don't call the protesters, domestic terrorists. They don't call them, insurrectionists. They're protesters, and that's what again, that's what they did on January 6th. They went into the people's house and they took the people's house, and there was no violence. The second the cops stepped out of the way, they were like patting them on the back, yeah, good job. All they wanted to do was go in and occupy the people's house, and that would have been completely peaceful if they weren't attacked. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, to your point, yeah, everything was peaceful, and they were making their point clear, and they were making their, nobody was getting hurt, and then the gunshot happened, right? And they killed the lady.
Well, what happened, the problem is that they just wanted to go in the building, and they acted like, the people are not welcome in the people's house. And so they tried to stop them. They tried to stop them outside. They tried to stop them in the hallways. And there would be no problem. Ashley Babbitt getting killed, we're going to talk a whole lot more about that tomorrow. But there would have been no problem if the cops just stepped out of the way. I mean, these people didn't set fires. This is the point. I've been saying from day one that this was a very peaceful protest. Now, Donald Trump seems to be copying me, but this was a very peaceful protest. And the reason I say that is because no gunfire, no Molotov cocktails, no flashbang grenades, no, on and on and on. No fire set inside the building, no graffiti, no fucking statues toppled. All they wanted to do was get inside the building. They weren't looking for a fight, and the police made it happen, not them.
Right. You can see that, like you said, they didn't bring any weapons. Like the worst thing that happened was.
I didn't say they didn't bring any weapons. I just said there was no gunfire, there was no Molotov cocktails.
Right.
Yeah.
But I saw one guy beating a cop with a flagpole.
Yeah.
But they had a really good view of that, and they had a really good view of the other cop that was getting pushed in the doorway. They even zoomed in on him,
Yeah.
So they had good views of everything, right? Which makes me believe that the whole thing was rather staged.
Yeah.
Maybe the lady really died. I hope not, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I can't believe anything I see on TV.
Yeah, well, or that comes from the government, and just it's hard to find any sources that you can feel like, are not slanted in some way. And if it's slanted in some way, then it's not being honest. I keep thinking about this. The news keeps using these words about Donald Trump. Absurdly says this, absurdly. The news isn't there to tell us what's absurd. The news is there to present facts. This is what's said, not this is what was said absurdly by Donald Trump. Fuck you. We don't need that. We just need you to show us what happened. We don't need your slanted bullshit. And it's really unfortunate that it's like they think they're talking to kindergartners or something. I just can't believe the mentality that thinks these news people are on anybody's side.
Can you imagine if 70 to 80% of the population were to think the way we think about these things? Things would be changed tomorrow. They'd be like, you know what, I'm not going to work yet because we have to go to Washington, D.C. and take care of something.
Well, we don't have to go to Washington, D.C. I keep saying this. If we could just get, like you said, 80% of people on the same page, that we share a common enemy, instead of acting like we are each our enemies of each other. That's programming. It's stupid to buy into it. We're Americans. And if we could get 80% of us to go, hey, we're Americans and we're going to do this protest together, all we have to do is sit the fuck down. Go stock up at the grocery store and sit the fuck down for the next 2 weeks. Jeff Bezos will be screaming his ass off, and the goddamn government will hear our voice then, I guarantee it.
And you know what? Like, if everyone were to see it that way, like, we just have to, don't worry about, you know, what you believe and what I believe. Let's just all get together on the fact that we need the people in there out.
Yeah, well, the way I see it is that people somehow believe that this is the good side and this is the bad side and this is the good side and that's the bad side. And there is no good side. You know, I mean, the only thing we have is coming together. That's the only hope we have. Otherwise, we're just going to become more and more divided like we are now. And I'm telling you, I don't see other people talking about this. I don't see other people talking about the American people coming together and recognizing the common enemy. Because there is no good guys in fucking Washington, D.C. We would be so much better off if God was just to smite Washington. What I really want is to put a dome over Washington, D.C. and just say, okay, you're not going anywhere. You're there, you know, and we'll dump in 500 pounds of meat a day, and that'll be the real fucking Hunger Games right there.
Yeah. that'd be worth watching on TV.
Yeah, I would like it. I would like it too. Where are they going to get their other meat at? That's what I want to know. It's made of people!
Well, hey, Mike, it's been great talking with you, man.
All right, David. Well, it's always good to hear from you. I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah, you stay cool, bro. All right, so I am on fire. I'm just amped up. I don't know how to take this anymore. I feel I'm just so tired of the labels and the divide. See, this label thing I was talking about. Again, people want to put a label on this person, put a label on that. Oh, this person's that thing. Oh, this person's one of those worthless human beings. Oh, look at that worthless human being. Whatever label it is. And there's a bazillion of them. But they don't just like to put them on other people. They like to put them on themselves. Oh, yeah, I'm one of the good ones. I'm a fucking stoner, okay? That's about the only label I'm going to put on me. I'm not going to paint myself into a box, but I know I'm going to be a stoner the rest of my life. Because I love cannabis. And it's like I was saying, that you don't herb friendly isn't enough anymore. You have to love cannabis. And by love cannabis, what I mean is not that you eat cannabis on a daily basis like I do, not that you smoke cannabis regularly, not that you sell cannabis and make money off of it, that you love cannabis because it's this amazing, incredibly renewable resource. We can fuel our cars on it. We can make our clothing out of it. We can build our homes out of it. We can make food out of it that could feed a starving world. So much food, so quickly. And for that reason, everyone should love cannabis. And the people that don't have been, again, brainwashed and misprogrammed. And this is the thing, man, where it's these labels, these never-ending labels. You don't deserve that. You're so much more than this label that you put on you. Whatever it is, you're so much more than that. And what I fear is that when we put these labels like conservative or Democrat on us, then we're painted into this corner. That's what Democrats do right here in this corner. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's who we are. No. You are so much more than that. You deserve to be free enough to make your own decision. Not make decisions like conservatives do. This is the conservative thought. Who gives a fuck? It's your brain, it's your life. You think the way you want. You don't listen to You know, some idiot who wants to put a label on everybody. See, there I did it again. Idiot. And that person's probably not an idiot. Well, no, that person. What I'm trying to say is that you deserve better. Don't let yourself be painted into a corner. You know, don't let someone else tell you because you're a conservative, you think this way, or we do stuff this way. Because, like I said, you're this big-brained, upright walking, opposable thumb. I can make anything I can imagine happen, almost, as long as you don't paint yourself into a corner. And if you paint yourself into a corner, which is what they want, right? They want the Democrats over here, and they want the Republicans way over there on that corner, so we can never come together. Because we're not one of those. It's a good thing they got their boundaries up. We got our boundaries up too. We're Americans. And I'm just so tired of the labels. Just so tired. It's a big part of what's holding us back. So I'm going to play another video because I don't have any callers. You can see the telephone number there at the bottom of the screen, right? In case you can't, it's 805-669-6397. 805 Mox News. 805-669-6397. 805 Mox News. I am going to play a video for you about let's see, play a video for you about apparently over the weekend Dr. Anthony Fauci was saying that more cities or more, I'm not sure exactly what he's saying, but he's saying that there needs to be more mandates for the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm not sure if he's talking about cities in general, or if he's talking about private businesses, or even, you know, city-owned business. I'm not honestly sure. But I think it's probably an important video because, again, I have a feeling mandates are coming. Besides mandates, they keep talking about booster shots. And again, we have to recognize what's being done. And a big part of why we can't seem to make that happen is because they have us so divided. If we could just understand the right and the left are the same fucking thing. They're just speaking to different suckers. The right news. If you watch the Fox News and then the MSNBC or the CNN, right? You watch the conservative and then the liberal media. You can see they're just talking to different suckers. It's blatantly obvious. So look for this. Understand. Identifying as this or that paints you into a corner, which will keep you from reaching out to the other side. Because, no, we're this right here. And that's the way they really want it. So, Fauci says there needs to be more vaccine mandates. Be right back.
Will millions of Americans have to get another COVID shot? Dr. Nicole Saphier joins us in moments to talk about that. But first, the World Anti-Doping Agency firing back at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez after Cortez said the International Olympic Committee's anti-doping policy was, quote, an instrument of racist and colonial policy. The agency saying that the United States has long supported a ban on marijuana. This comes after U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson was suspended for testing positive for THC. She will not compete at the Tokyo Olympics. And it's a real shame that she's not going to compete because she likely would have won the gold and could have helped carry the U.S. relay team to gold as well. But, rules are rules. You've got to follow them.
The rules are rules, got to follow them, especially when it comes to the Olympics, the highest level of competition in your sport. Shout out to all those athletes that have been through so much, John, with the delays, the COVID restrictions, not being able to have family members or any fans whatsoever at the Olympics. We just wish them all who are able to compete the best. All right, Pfizer, meanwhile, is set to meet with federal health officials as soon as today in its push for a third dose of its COVID shot. The company saying the boosters would be needed within 12 months. Joining us now, New York City physician and Fox News contributor, Dr. Nicole Saphier. Dr. Saphier, great to see you. I feel like this is a question so many people around town, at school, at sporting events, this is what they're asking is like, are we going to have to get another shot if we've already had 2 of the Pfizer or the Moderna? What are you hearing?
Well, Sandra, I can tell you, if you look at the data that's available right now, it looks like the Pfizer and Moderna do a great job at protecting people who are fully vaccinated from severe illness, including hospitalization and death, about a 96% protection rate, and they still are very good, even the Delta variant, of protecting from asymptomatic and mild illness. Now, what Pfizer's looking at is they have a little bit rise of increased mild and asymptomatic cases out of Israel of those fully vaccinated. What does that mean? Well, they don't really know yet, but could that mean that you're going to see more severe illness in the fall, maybe in the winter? It's possible, but I can tell you, Sandra, by looking at the data, it looks like the vaccines and even natural infection gives long-term immunity, and the majority of people will likely not need a booster for the currently circulating variants. Will the elderly, more vulnerable, the immunocompromised? It's possible they may need a booster within the year, but we really need to see more data for that to be convincing.
Interesting. So we're at a point where we're also wondering whether or not we're going to see more mandates for vaccines, whether that at the business level, as so many employees return to work, or at the school level. Dr. Fauci decided to weigh in on that. And of course, he's grabbing a lot of headlines. Listen.
Do believe at the local level, Jake, there should be more mandates. There really should be. We're talking about life and death situation. We've lost 600,000 Americans already, and we're still losing more people. I think the hesitancy at the local level of doing mandates is because the vaccines have not been officially fully approved.
Okay, so there should be more local vaccine mandates, says Dr. Fauci, but he did not back a federal mandate in that interview. So doesn't this just put the onus on small businesses, companies, schools to make that decision rather than hearing it from the top?
Well, Sandra, I really don't think that the majority of businesses need to be doing vaccine mandates. It's not uncommon to see healthcare workers and even schools to have certain vaccines for the safety of the collective. But a couple of things that they can do, Sandra, is it's not so black and white. They can't keep saying that you have to be fully vaccinated and that's the only way you're protected. They need to start acknowledging those with natural immunity. Also, those that have already recovered from COVID-19, maybe just getting a single dose of the vaccine. We know that gives an incredible amount of protection. They have to be a little bit more flexible, start acknowledging the other ways that people are protected. And then moving forward, of course, they need to push for that full FDA approval. And I think you'll reach more of the vaccine hesitant when they get that full FDA approval. It's not about mandating. It's not about requiring. It's about gaining public trust. And the way to do that is through education.
It's already so hard for some of these businesses to get people back to work. And they're trying to figure out, in addition to getting them back, how to get them back safely. So there's so many decisions they have to make. And they will continue to have to do so. Dr. Saphier, great to see you. Thank you.
You as well.
Okay.
Pikachu fell down. Okay, let's see. You guys think there's going to be another lockdown? I saw a video clip today where they said 99.5. 99.5. I almost made that the title of the video. 0.5 spelled out capital letters with an exclamation point at the end. 0.5 in parentheses. Okay, so 99.5% of the current COVID cases, that are dying from COVID, 99.5 are unvaccinated people. And then they said, and the reason for these new variants is because of those people. So it can't get much more than 99.5, can it? What do you want, 100% of them? I am, oh man. It's just so, just too much. I feel bad for people who don't have cannabis. That's not something new, though. Although, in times like this, you know, they talk about stress, and they talk about how stress is the big killer, you know. It seems like all these people do is stress you out. All they do is go, oh, we own your bitch ass, and now you have to do this. Fuck you, which is my common response to people telling me you have to do this. So I wish people had cannabis because there's so much stress right now. And honestly, when I talk about this division, I've always felt like cannabis, the three things that are really amazing and special about cannabis is that it connects us to each other, and it connects us to the earth, and it connects us to the higher spirit. This is the way I've always perceived cannabis. And I wish that everyone could have, you know, that you know, little yellow pill. Just be able to have a little puff. I've told a story before about my dentist who went to his grandma's birthday in South Africa, her 90th birthday. And when he went there, he was like, Grandma, you have to tell me, you know, how is it that you stay so young and vibrant? And she took him into her bedroom, and she reached into her dresser drawer, and she pulled out 2 joints. And she said, I've been smoking this since I was 9 years old. And I love that story. My dentist told me that story when I tried to give him a tray of brownies. I said, this is all I have. And then he wouldn't take them. And I was like, I hope you're not mad at me for trying to give you cannabis. And he told me that story about his grandma. And I was like, well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Because, you know, he said she lived to be 110 years old, which is pretty freaking amazing. So I wish everyone could have that experience to be able to, because again, they say stress is the big killer, and this takes it right away, more or less. I mean, as soon as you get used to the buzz, it's this easy kind of flowing thing where, you know, it's not like, oh my God, I had one too many fucking bong hits, and now I'm gonna be all like holding on to the world and puking and not knowing where I'm at and blackout drunk. No, you had a fucking puff. And be like, hee hee hee, ha ha ha. Or have a you can eat too much, but it's not gonna make you puke. It's not gonna send you to the hospital unless you're not experienced. The last thing you ever want to do when you're high on weed is go to the hospital. Unless you're breaking out in hives and all this stuff. You know, if you're having some kind of reaction other than getting high, you don't want to go because they'll make it so much worse than what you're already experiencing. Be like, I never want to do that shit again. Because, you know, hospital's going to be like, ah. And if you're from a state where, you know, it's illegal to consume cannabis, they might even call the police. So you have reasons to be stressed out. I remember I posted a video a long time ago about a police officer who had stolen weed from their drug lockup, right? He's stolen like, I don't know, half ounce of weed or something, and then they made brownies out of it. And they ate a bunch of brownies. And they called the emergency 911, and they're like, are we dead? I think we're dead. And then he asked about the score of the hockey game. Again, it's once you're used to the buzz, it just drops all the stress right off. Not all the stress, you know, but it really, really helps. So, like I said, I wish everyone could have that experience. I wish everyone could love cannabis for the amazing renewable resource that it is. I wish we could be using it to build our houses out of it, to fuel our cars out of it, to make enough food overnight to feed all the hungry people in the world. Why are we not using this renewable, amazingly, simply renewable resource? 50% of all the pesticides used in the United States are used on cotton, producing cotton. 50%, which goes right into our waterways. Okay? 50% of that. And if you make material out of hemp, which you don't need to use any pesticides on, if you make material out of hemp, it's much more durable and it's actually softer. So again, this amazing renewable resource that will help us so much. And the assholes in our government, our giant asshole of a government has kept this amazing renewable resource from our country and the entire planet for what? Reefer Madness was 1930, right? So they've made it since at least the UN, right? Since at least the UN came into formation, that cannabis around the world must be illegal. And how could they have made cannabis illegal from once the UN was formed? Because they passed these laws in the UN that said no one can get UN money, UN assistance. No one can get UN monetary assistance unless cannabis is illegal in your country. Okay, so it's not just that our government kept this amazing renewable resource because they forced the UN to do it. Our government, the US government, has kept this amazing renewable resource from ourselves. We've kept it from the whole world. And what has that done to our water supply? To all this fucking pollution that's been created through petroleum, to all the hungry people in the world, and so many other things that we have no understanding of. This clean, pure, natural medicine. All these fucking applications that have been kept from us in the world is 100% because of the US government. So if you see somehow the left or the right as being the good guys, you are really, really, really not paying attention. And it's sad. That being said, I'm going to play another video now because I can do that. That's what I came to do. And I will do it whenever and however I like. Got it? Let's see. How about the anti-woke movement? Does that sound like fun? Let's listen to a little bit of the anti-woke movement. Again, these labels, man. These labels. We gotta stop with the labels. We have to. Because, again, this thing, I talk about the evolution of humans. Us evolving into our next phase, our higher selves, whatever it might be. We don't want to digress. We don't want the next evolution to be some kind of a digression, right? So these labels, they're holding us firmly in place, along with the government and all these other things. But you got to stop with the labels, people. All right, anti-woke movement, here you go.
So has woke become a problem for Democrats? It started as a rallying call by black activists to be aware, alert, and informed about social justice issues. But now more and more Democrats are speaking up and saying that the left may be leaning into it. too far. Take Eric Adams. He's a former police captain who's just won the New York City's Democratic mayoral primary with a centrist and law and order message. And he now has a message for his party.
We can't be so idealistic that we're not realistic. And we've allowed the fallout of the Trump administration to have an overreach in philosophy and not on the ground real issues that are facing everyday New Yorkers.
So is it fair to call you an anti-woke Democrat?
No, some of us never went to sleep. That's the problem.
Joining me now, Jackie Kucinich, CNN political analyst, Washington bureau chief at the Daily Beast, and Matt Bennett, a Democratic strategist, a former Clinton White House staffer, and co-founder of Third Way, a public policy think tank. Jackie, Eric Adams says, there is a message to be learned from his victory, and he's laying it out there. Do you agree?
I think it depends on where you are in the country. And it really seems when you step back, calling them anti-woke Democrats right now, this is a problem or an issue that the Democratic Party and the Republican Party has struggled with every cycle, trying to deal with the activist part of the party and balance that with the more pragmatic part of the party and what usually makes up a majority. It's always those people in the center, the curse of the moderate Democrat, the moderate Republican, that always feel and always get the activist left put upon in their race. So right now they're trying to navigate that on the Democratic side because they need these activists. They need their energy. They need them in 2020. So they don't want to stifle them, and they're not going to because they're very loud. But they need them to show up. So that, and we're going to continue to see that as we move through this cycle.
Yeah, and Adams, Matt, his win is the latest example of this debate amongst the Democratic Party, as Jackie's kind of pointing out. I mean, your group did an autopsy after the 2020 election, and one thing that sticks out very clearly to me today as we have this discussion is that you all said Republican attempts to brand Democrats as radicals worked. So what does the emergence of these, quote-unquote anti-woke Democrats mean?
Well, I think they're learning the lessons of 2020 just as we did when we did that deep dive. What happened in 2020, of course, we won the White House and we got majorities in both houses of Congress. So what we did wasn't really a postmortem because nobody really died, but it was a retrospective. Right. And we did lose 14 House seats. 12 of them were freshmen who did not have deep brand identities. And what Republicans have become unbelievably good at doing ever since, back in the 90s when I was working in the Clinton White House and on the Clinton campaigns, they have become extraordinarily good at weaponizing the brand of the far left in the culture wars. Now, the issues change over time. At one point it was marriage equality for gays and lesbians. That's no longer a thing for Republicans. But now they've attached themselves last cycle to defund the police, and now they seem to be heading towards critical race theory and socialism. And much of it is just a complete lie, what they're saying to voters about these Democrats, but they lie pretty effectively.
Yeah, and Jackie, I would like your perspective on that, because I also hear from folks that this isn't really a real debate or divide within the Democratic Party so much. It's more a problem as Republicans are successfully, the Democrats would say, co-opting a nuanced message. Kirsten Powers was on this morning, and she was talking about really these labels, the woke and anti-woke labels that people are jumping on. Listen to this.
It's now been really misappropriated, mostly by the right, and I think some Democrats are starting to do it as well, to turn it into this kind of boogeyman word, right? And that's not really what it is. I just don't think Democrats should get involved in this anti-woke thing, because it's something that's really been driven by the right.
And so, Jackie, if that's the case, is it clear to you that Democrats, that they have a plan to, get the message back? I mean, they should lean on Matt first and foremost, but beyond that, to how to get the message back.
It seems like, so one of the things that has been working in Democrats' favor in terms of some of this more trying to put the more the far left or the more liberal side of the party's position on the party at large, is Joe Biden. Joe Biden has not been someone that has been backing some of the more left-leaning or leftward proposals. He's not putting political capital behind them. And so it's harder to make it stick. That said, they like to elevate certain parts of the party to put it on other parts of the party. We saw this at the end of 2020. There was that call with Democrats where you had moderate Democrats speaking out saying, defund the police is killing me and my...
All right, so I just want to point out in that video, again, it was just label after label after label, Democrats, left-leaning. It was just... I've been talking about labels since the very beginning of the show, and it was just label. And I think, again, that they're explaining to you how you're supposed to think, because you're one of these people. And if you're one of these people, this is the way we think. And I also find it very interesting that they're talking about this anti-woke. Is woke a threat to Democrats? Which tells me that woke is a threat to somebody. And it might be a threat to the government. It might be a threat to the fake media. I hate to use Trump terms. But we all know the media is full of shit. The news is completely full of shit. So maybe this woke thing is being a threat to them. I just see it as another label, My name is Tommy, and I became aware this year. I don't need to be woke. I am who I am, and I like that person. I really do. And I'm glad to be, whatever I am. I am. And I don't make money and, but I have a pretty life. I don't say pretty, but I have a nice life. It's good. It's a good life, and it's simple. I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a car, and I don't worry about those things. I think because I don't have those things, I think there's just a ton of worry that I don't have, which is a big part of why I don't have those things, I remember at the beginning of people with the smartphones and stuff. I remember cell phones. Cell phones were okay. It was nice to have. It was nice to have the ability to take pictures all the time because you had your camera on you, or take a video all the time because you had your camera on you. And then it was, it's just nice to have a phone available, right? But then it just became this computer, right? And you can just see people are just hypnotized by the screen, right? The screen, which you don't know, these screens are flashing lights, right? And almost nothing hypnotizes people faster than flashing lights, in case you're not aware of that. So I don't especially want to have a lot to do with that. I'm tired of computers. So a cell phone, a smartphone is not something that I'm attracted to. I mean, again, I still like the idea of being able to shoot video with it. I have a smartphone. It doesn't have a service provider. It never has since I've owned it. I don't actually own it. It was just gifted to me. And I like the idea of having a little thin camera, something that's easy to carry around that you can shoot HD video with. I love that idea. I just don't want all the computer bits that go along with it, So, what does that say? Is that what you want, Whisper? Is that what Whisper's looking for? Huh? I'm sure someone can accommodate you, Whisper. It's not my bag, baby. So you'll have to look elsewhere. I am not interested. But, I'm sure you can find someone. Got to be someone out there for you, Whisper, with what you're looking for. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna play another video because we don't have any callers, and this is a call-in show. And I think I've smoked too much weed. I don't know what I never smoked no shit like that before, man. Actually, I think I've had enough weed for the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and play a video since we don't have any phone callers. I have 2 videos left actually. Well, not counting this video, which I just want to take a minute and play the white privilege card. We have white privilege cards available for anyone who gives a $10 donation or more. You will receive a Mox News media package with the Mike Hawk for President postcard and your own white privilege card. You know you want one. So that you can carry this in your wallet and people will understand the state of mind that you have. It will be evidence of the state of mind that you think because of your skin color, you can get away with anything.
Trump won the election. Among the suspect's possessions, this is real, a white privilege card. I want you to take a look at this. It's a fake white privilege credit card. Subtitle, Trump's everything. The card holder, scot-free with 2 T's. Scot-free is actually spelled with 1 T, but, you know, 2 T's on that card. That one piece of evidence, an insight into the man's state of mind, that he can get away with anything because of his skin color. His lawyer saying this to CNN. This was a guy simply...
That guy is such a tard. This is real, folks. A fake white privilege card. And if you'd like to have your own fake white privilege card, I'm sorry, real fake white privilege card, all you have to do is donate $10 to Mox News. I'm looking to get 20. $10 to Mox News. Then I can go and buy the weed I want to buy so bad. Because it's only going to be at the store for 1 day. Because not only do I want it, a whole bunch of other people want it. I just really like to taste this weed. Apple fritters. Come on, baby. I need 20 bucks. White privilege card. Anybody who donates $10 or more will receive a Mox News media package, including their own white privilege card. So come on. It's not like you're not getting anything back. I do the damn show every night. 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So I give and give and give, people. How much more do you want from me? All I need is about $3.50. God dang monster. Okay. What the heck is that? Sharks. The shark has volume on it? Uh-oh. I didn't know the sharks had volume on it. Okay. So I have 2 videos left, and I will play one of them for you now, and then I'll be back in just a minute to play the other one if we don't have any phone callers.
Here on Newsmax TV, it was a big weekend for the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. He spoke of many things in his Sunday afternoon keynote address at CPAC in Dallas, Texas. He spoke of Biden's multiple border crises. He spoke of the dishonest and unfair press. And he spoke about his war against the pro-communist China, anti-freedom big tech giants like Google, Twitter, and Facebook.
But it's not only the Second Amendment that the leftists want to destroy. They are hard at work to abolish the First Amendment as well. Probably all amendments when you get right down to it. Why not? The radical left and big tech's attack on free speech is unlawful, it's unconstitutional, and it is completely un-American. To protect the constitutional rights and liberties of every citizen, this week I filed a major class action. A lot of people are joining.
Now, you heard those cheers winding up. Folks, they were loud and sustained. Conservatives and Republicans realizing just how corrupt and dangerous big tech has become. But perhaps the most pointed critique launched by President Trump was aimed at a justice system that is now geared toward political favoritism not equal justice under the law. Rejecting left-wing politics in the justice system. We sound the alarm in tonight's preamble. In May, Just the News, PJ Media, and other news outlets reported that many, if not all, of the January 6 rioters were being held in something called restrictive housing. Most of the left-wing national media refuses to report on the atrocious living conditions to which some of the roughly 300 rioters have been subjected to as they await their sentencing in D.C. prison cells. Contrast this detention to how the Democrats' BLM and Antifa terrorists are treated. All over the United States, these leftists who have burned, vandalized, beaten, and looted their way through America's streets have been released, many without even being charged. And it's not just Chicago, New York, and Portland. One of the most high-profile examples of this favoritism is the release of 50 rioters who broke the law in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, these people were arrested on Sunday, May 31st for breaking Texas law against rioting. But they were all released and not charged. Then Police Chief Ed Krause justified a decision to excuse the law-breaking by saying, quote, "The protesters have expressed their anger over police misconduct and have demanded changes. The cry to reform the police profession is echoing across our nation, and we must start here at home," end quote. Wait, the rioters in the Capitol were demanding change too. They were angry too. Why are left-wing demands and anger worthy of dropped charges, but alleged right-wing anger and demands are worthy of restrictive housing? Shouldn't all rioters get the same treatment? In fact, with the fires and looting that often accompany left-wing riots, something the January 6th rioters did not do, couldn't one make the case that left-wingers were more deserving of punishment? President Trump outlined how federal law enforcement seems to be showing favoritism to those who break the law in the name of anti-American left-wing causes.
And at the same time, they're weaponizing the IRS against conservatives and Christians, just like they did with the Tea Party, except worse. There are now two sets of laws in this country, one for the left-wing mob, the rioters and the rampagers, who can do whatever the hell they want to whomever they want to do it. And there is another set of rules for law-abiding conservative Americans, happen to be Republicans, who simply want to speak their minds and exercise their rights, like to talk about a rigged election.
In my opinion, the corruption of federal law enforcement, which in turn puts pressure on local law enforcement, started with the election of socialist Democrats. Those same leftists have appointed degenerates in key positions to ensure that liberals are treated with kid gloves and conservatives are treated with iron fists. Many in the biased press have referenced what they call the big lie. This is their way of saying that anyone who claims that elections were unfair or were illegally conducted must be lying. But the press, which claims to be fair to both sides, didn't brand left-wingers as liars when they were making similar claims in past elections.
Democrats and liberals have accused the vote of being rigged or stolen for George W. Bush, both in 2000 and 2004, and have done so for years. Jonathan Chait wrote in New York Magazine in 2012, yes, Bush v. Gore did steal the election. Also in 2012, Salon asked, is the GOP stealing Ohio? In 2014, Ezra Klein of Vox wrote that 68% of Americans think elections are rigged.
And he said they're right
in that 2000, article. Jesse Jackson demanded an inquiry of the results in Florida, saying shortly after the election, 22,000 people are begging for their vote to count and for its intent to be realized. This last vote caused a crisis in the credibility of this election. This is a crisis of integrity. We, the American people, deserve better. We should settle for nothing less.
For the record, that was MSNBS Morning Brzezinski reminding you lefties out there that you have done what you are trying to criminalize right now. You have claimed that elections that didn't go your way were stolen. I wonder why left-wingers didn't get canceled because of that. So why can left-wingers over decades claim that elections were stolen and not have CNN call them pushers of a big lie? But Trump supporters, who point out that several states did not follow prescribed election laws, are deemed big liars. And by the way, Michigan was found by a judge to have broken their own election laws in 2020. I believe more states will conclude the same. States like Georgia, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. It turns out those responsible for...
So I really liked what he showed there. I don't particularly care for that guy. He's again, he's one of these guys, just label. That being said, I really liked the part where he was, I don't know if it was his clip or if it was from the MSNBC, where they were showing this election contested, that election contested, that election contested. Do it soon, MC, because this is a normal thing where the election is contested, and that's what having a healthy, free country is about. We no longer have a healthy, free country. We no longer have freedom of speech. Marijuana Community just told me, or he said in the chat, that he's got a copyright strike for posting the CPAC presidential speech by Donald Trump. That's just a load of bullshit, okay? A presidential speech like that is, it belongs to, there's what they call fair use. And basically all news is fair use. And Donald Trump giving a speech at CPAC is news. Especially, now with all the, maybe even more than when he was president, right? So, and again, on that clip, I really liked how they were showing election after election after election contested. And that's, again, what it means to be in a free society. To say, hey, no, this is rigged. The American people believe the elections are rigged. That was one of the headlines on that clip. Vox, I don't know, I know that they've been around a long, long time, but I'm not sure of exactly what kind of a source they are. But Vox and Vox, it said, what did it say? It said 68% of Americans believe elections are rigged. Hello, caller.
Hey, Mike, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fine. I'm on fire, baby! What's happening?
Yeah, baby. No, a lot of things are happening. Well, I spent the whole day wrestling with computers, and I know how you deal with computers. You go in the garage, you get a new one. But I have to wrestle with them. So I did that all day. Took them apart.
Hey, by the way, I don't go in the garage and get a new one. I tell Craig to go in the garage and get me a new one. So you know.
Well, that's how you deal with computers. I have to deal with computers with like a screwdriver. And I did today. And it's just, you got to be really patient. It's not really complicated. It's not rocket science or anything. It's just you have to be really patient. And sometimes I just have to put everything down, step out of the room, and then come back, until I get patient enough to deal with it. But I did. That's how I spent my day. Kind of sucked. But I did find a few news stories that I don't know if they were on the news, on the regular TV that you saw today. But one of the stories was from CNN. And for the first time, the travelers in Tibet, there was a high-speed electric train line that opened up in Tibet.
Wow.
Just a day ago. And it says, for the first time, travelers in Tibet can enjoy the area's mountain views at high speed. A 250-mile rail line connecting the capital of Lhasa with the city of Ningxi entered into service on 25 of June, giving all 31 provincial-level regions of mainland China access to high-speed train travel.
Wow, that's
so you could
impressive, man.
You could go from the edge of Korea, like in northern China, all the way into central Tibet on trains, and many of those trains are high-speed trains. So
and the United States is like 1/10 the size of China, right?
1/10 the size of China, yeah. Well, no, it's about they're comparable in size. With Alaska, I think the United States.
Oh, with Alaska, a little bigger. Alaska's half the size of the United States.
Yeah, it's like but it's like it's it's comparable to the size of America, but. So 90% of this route is going to be over at 3,000 meters above sea level, which is like 6,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet. This line features 47 tunnels, 121 bridges, which account for 75% of the route, 525-meter-long railway bridge, which is the largest, highest arch bridge of its kind in the world, 525-meter-long railway bridge. And they built it for $5.6 billion. It was serviced by high-speed electric trains. They will go 100 miles an hour. Sometimes high-speed trains can go up to like 160 miles an hour, 200 miles an hour. This train will go 100 miles an hour, which is still faster than 95% of the trains in the United States.
Yeah, is there some that go 100 miles an hour in the United States?
Yep, there's one little stretch between Boston and Washington, D.C. on that corridor in the northeast. There's like a stretch of like 20 miles or something, right?
Wow.
And that's like all of the high-speed rail in the United States.
Wow.
These trains are so sophisticated that they have automated oxygen supply systems that keep oxygen levels at 23%, slightly higher than 21% found in normal atmospheres. And that's because they're going to be traveling at high altitude, so they want to make sure that the trains have oxygen. So there's these super sophisticated dual power engine trains, and this whole journey across Tibet, 250 miles, you can take in 2.5 hours on this train.
Wow, that's awesome.
Pretty amazing. And, we've talked about high-speed trains before. And, like, in the United States, there's only right now, like I said, 100 miles of line on the Northeast Corridor. But there was this excerpt from this Wikipedia article called High-Speed Rail Line in the United States, and it talks about California. And, before people start bad-mouthing China, let's be real. They have a working train across Tibet right now. They started building it. They said they wanted to build it in 2014. 6 years later, it is fucking built. It is done. You can fly to Lhasa and get on a train and go across the country today. You couldn't do it 2 weeks ago. They did it, right? But this is what is going on in California. So this is from the Wikipedia article. California Proposition 1 passed in November 2008. It issued $9.95 billion in bonds to fund the first phase of a planned multi-phase high-speed rail network. Conventional steel wheel rail technology is the adopted mode, with trains traveling at speeds up to 200 miles an hour. Los Angeles to San Francisco through the Central Valley was expected to be the first phase of the network. Through the initial operating segments have since become unclear. The California High-Speed Rail Authority is the lead agency charged with planning and implementing the system. The state was awarded $2.55 billion in funding from the federal government in 2010. Since the passage of Proposition 1A in 2008, cost estimates for the project have risen due to increased planning and disputes over routes. Rideship projections face scrutiny by a number of groups, including the Reason Foundation. In May 2013, with cost estimates double the original figures approved by the voters in 2008, opponents filed lawsuits intended to invalidate the $10 billion bond measure, which was part of financing the rail line. By December 2018, the authority had 119 miles of right-of-way, so they got the land, from Madera to Bakersfield under contract and construction. However, the estimated cost of the now scaled-down rail system had increased from $33 billion to $77 billion, including federal funding. The California High-Speed Rail Authority had only about $12.7 billion, approximately 1/8 of the money required. The governor, Gavin Newsom, has still expressed support for the project despite funding shortfall, reduced scope, and swelling costs. So in China, when they wanted to build these, there's 3 sections of line they're building in Tibet. They'll be completed by 2030. This one section of line, like I said, is 250 miles long. And it also is technically intense, right? 6,000 feet in the air, largest arch bridge ever built for a train, oxygen, cars with oxygen. I mean, it's pretty technologically advanced, right? And in California, they can't even make a rail line between like the two kind of populous areas, like the Bay Area and Los Angeles. Like, they can't do that in 13 years, even get a fourth of it built. And the cost went from $10 billion to $77 billion in 13 years. Now, you tell me, if you were a third person, like just looking at this, like in the sky, looking down at the situation, which system understands how to build a train? Which system can get a train to work, right? Our system isn't.
Well, the question
isn't
is,
working.
who is it that prioritizes infrastructure? I talk about infrastructure again and again, and this is basic. Trains are basic part of infrastructure.
Right, for like running a country, or running the government, how to govern people.
If this country wants to be able to compete with any other country in the world, infrastructure is going to be the first step. Because right now, I don't think we are competing. They'll say, "Oh, we have the busiest, blah blah blah." Or I don't see it.
So,
yeah.
I watched this video this weekend. I watched a video this weekend about China and why China only has 300 to 400 nuclear weapons. Right? The United States has like 8,000 or 6,000. Russia has similar 6,000 or 7,000 nuclear warheads. China only built 300 to 400 nuclear warheads, period.
Yeah.
End of story. And the reason you don't need more than 300 nuclear weapons.
You don't need
to
more
have
than
deterrence.
You don't need more
You
don't need more than 10 nuclear weapons to destroy the fucking planet. So we understand each
or
other.
whatever, destroy capital cities anywhere in the world or something. It's for a deterrent effect.
No, four strategically placed fucking nukes will destroy the Earth, send us into a nuclear fucking winter for hundreds of years. 4, okay? So they don't need 6,000 of them. No one does.
No, nobody does. So to put it in context, China did not spend trillions of dollars after a certain point upgrading its nuclear deterrent. So all the money on research and development, all the money that the private contractors steal, all the money for maintaining these facilities and making sure that these warheads are functional and the computer systems, and all of that money, they're just maintaining an arsenal of 300 or 400 weapons as a deterrent. Our nuclear upgrade is going to cost $1 trillion or something like that. So instead of spending that $1 trillion on weapons, they're building high-speed rail lines and airports and public housing and new manufacturing facilities and so on and so forth, like you're talking about, infrastructure.
If we weren't spending trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars on war and making war, we would be able to completely rebuild our infrastructure and do so much more.
Well, yeah, if we would get off of the military, right, the military addiction, the addiction to spending money on war, we'd have money and resources that we could use to develop infrastructure, and instead of blaming China, and thinking that China's some totalitarian nightmare place to live and calling them names, the way that we could prove that that we're not just name callers, is we could develop our infrastructure. If we want to compete, I think competition is kind of a fucked up thing, period. But if we want to compete with them, well, the way to do it is by example. And that's by showing them that we have something to offer them. And right now, I think all the United States has to offer the world is a police state. A police state with a society where there's a few rich people and a lot of poor people, and the growing gap between the two keeps getting bigger and bigger, that's owned by just a few people. I mean, that's not offering the world very much. I think China is offering the world development, where they'll be able to keep some of the, their national sovereignty and stuff, but their trade relations are going to be developed, and they'll have ports, and they'll have cities, and they'll have all the infrastructure, and China will help make that happen. We don't do that. We destroy countries. Then we have private contractors fly into those destroyed countries, like in Iraq, and we buy up all of the assets. We did it in Ukraine, too.
Yeah.
We stabilized the government of Ukraine, and then private contractors fly in there and say, oh, and then they get on their cell phones and they go, Charlie, I see a great factory here. It's a deal. This country's in the basement, man. You need to buy this now.
Yeah.
And then his friend buys the shit up. That's how we operate. That's pretty much it. It's how we operated in Haiti. After the big earthquake in Haiti destroyed the capital city. A lot of people died. And there was rebuilding, and Bill Clinton and George Bush made a joint appeal to say, hey, businesses, come to Haiti, new free trade zones for you so that you can operate and don't pay any taxes, and we'll give you labor for nothing. But just help these people rebuild. So they gave away things like, cheap labor. They gave away, things that the electric system that they owned, give those things away to corporations. And then, 10, 15 years later, it's still the same place. They didn't change anything. They just went there to make a quick buck. They didn't give a fuck about those people, and they still don't care about those people.
Yeah.
They only care about their own.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what's happening in China. I thought people would know that's what's going on in China. There was a poll, and this is from The Hill. It's a news magazine, The Hill. And this poll was just released. It says 73% of registered voters, July 3rd, said they support removing U.S. troops from Afghanistan. They said this number has been constant since April 2021. So that's, like I said, 73% of Americans. The latest survey comes after Biden defended his decision to withdraw all troops from Afghanistan Thursday. He confirmed the U.S. military mission will end on August 31st ahead of his initial September 11th deadline, concluding a war that spent 2 decades. All right, I know that there's been pushback, so I just want people to realize that the American public is not happy about what happened in Afghanistan. And they, for the most part, they don't want American troops there. So I have seen, I got this vibe from some articles that I've read that, some people are concerned about the U.S. military leaving Afghanistan. And, they're making up reasons why we should stay there. And one of the things that they're going to do is vilify the Taliban, right? They're going to make the Taliban as evil as they were probably in 1999, 2000, when you heard all the evil things about the Taliban. So, again, I would expect to hear some of that in the next couple of weeks as some of the neoconservatives are going to push back, encouraging the U.S. Army to stay. Remember, even there were generals, I think, when Trump was saying he wanted to leave Afghanistan, there were American generals that were saying, I don't know if that's the greatest idea there, Mr. President. They want to stay there. Afghanistan.
Yeah, well, it was never a good idea. Afghanistan's nickname is Empire Killer. So we were
graveyard of empires.
Yeah, we were never going to make any progress there. And it doesn't appear to me that they really wanted to. So.
Yep. Last one and last story. And this was from today, July 12th, and it's from earthnewspaper.com. And the title says, the House committees, plural, House committees, pass $20 million per day on behalf of Israel. So 2 House committees recently advanced bills containing provisions that will disperse over $7 billion of American tax money on behalf of Israel if both houses of Congress pass the bills and they're signed into law by Biden as is expected. Congressional committee recently passed 2 bills. These committees, 2 bills that contain provisions to disperse over $7 billion on behalf of Israel in the year 2022. It works out to $20 million per day. These provisions were included in the bill despite the fact that Israel just committed another onslaught against Gazan men, women, and children, despite Israel's many actions that harm Americans, despite the fact that most Americans think the United States already gives Israel too much money, and despite the fact that aid to Israel is illegal under American laws. On June 30th, the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Defense approved a bill that gives Israel $500 million, and on July 1st, the House Appropriations Committee advanced a bill that disperses $6.4 billion on behalf of Israel. And that article was originally from IsraelPalestineNews.org. So $20 million a day, $6 billion. Okay, so that train that they built in China from that city Yangtze to Lhasa, the capital, 250-mile high-speed rail train. I think they said it cost $5.3 billion, for China to do it. Right there, instead of giving $6.3 billion to Israel, if we were really frugal and efficient with our money, we could have built a high-speed rail line from Philadelphia to Boston, or from Washington D.C. to Boston. You know what I mean?
Yes.
$20 million.
I talk about it constantly, man.
I know. Yeah. Anyway, well, that's just another example of it. All right, all the fucking money we're giving, guns and just money to Israel. Call it bribery, call it whatever it is, but it is happening. Anyway, those are 3 stories I wanted to share with you tonight, Mike. And I don't know. Did you have a good day? How was your day? Seems like you were on fire a little early.
I went for a long walk in a nice wooded trails, and then for about 2 hours, and then I captured a bunch of videos for the show, and then I worked in the garden for 3 hours, and then I captured a bunch of videos for the show. So
great. The garden is looking well. Yeah, looking nice.
It's doing fine. I'm not very good at it yet, but it's doing fine.
I have three plants, and they're doing all right. I've been really minimal with my pruning this year.
Yeah.
So instead of just going in there and cutting, I'm just taking a couple of leaves every day and looking at the sun and looking at each plant and just being really patient with it, trying not to over prune.
Yeah, that seems like a good. I try not to work on them too much. I don't want to trim them a whole lot. I just want to. I was making tea today and we did a watering and stuff like that. So
I found some lion's mane mushrooms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, at the grocery store.
Really? Wow.
It's powder.
Oh, weird.
I haven't seen it before at the grocery store.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them at Fungi Perfecti, that place Paul Stamets runs. I've seen specimens of them, and I've also seen them. You can buy, blocks that are inoculated with spore and grow them in your yard. But I hadn't seen them commercially sold. And I probably bought 28 grams to 14-gram bags.
Huh.
And you're supposed to just take a teaspoon a day as a supplement, and it's just 100% pure lion's mane mushroom. It was manufactured by some company in California. I don't remember the name. But I'm going to start trying that because I've always been interested in that. And
where'd you find it at?
I found it at Grocery Outlet, Mike.
Interesting. You said it was supposed to be something.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to be good for people who have memory problems.
Is that right?
And for people who are developing Alzheimer's, who have early symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. So it's used as what is it called? A neurogenerator, or to rejuvenate neural.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've heard a lot of things about it, and it's good medicinally. So, seems like a good one to take for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, it looks it's by some company called Sweetheart Group in Industry, California. But I just found it interesting that they're marketing mushrooms in grocery stores, right? Or they're selling mushrooms in grocery stores.
Yeah.
And I think that's really an amazing thing, because I've very rarely seen mushroom supplements at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And I hope I see more of them,
Yeah.
So that was a positive thing. Anyway, I'm gonna listen to the rest of the program, and glad you got a walk today and got an opportunity to do some gardening. That's always relaxing.
It was nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good night, Mike.
Okay. Thanks for calling, Chris. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Have a good evening. Peace.
All right. So I'm gonna play. I have one video left, people. Wait. Yeah, I have one video left. So this is your chance, boys and girls. If you want to call, you should do it soon. I'm gonna play this video, and I'll be right back.
We begin live at Morgan Stanley's headquarters here in New York City, where the brokerage firm is now blocking workers and clients from entering the building if they have not yet been vaccinated. Employees who have not are being told to stay and work from home. But is that legal? We'll get into that in just a moment. Welcome, everyone. I'm Sandra Smith in for Neil Cavuto, and this is Your World. Aisha Hasni is outside Morgan Stanley headquarters here in New York City with the very latest. Hi, Aisha.
Hi, Sandra. Yeah, you're right. You know, this is a brand new world post-COVID. These are really uncharted waters here that we're in right now. And you're right. Starting today, any employee or staff member, a client, even a visitor at Morgan Stanley will have to show proof of vaccination before they can enter any Morgan Stanley building in the New York City metro area, including the headquarters that you're looking at right now. According to the company, 95% of its employees are already vaccinated, so that's good news. Those who are not, they must continue working from home. The question, Sandra, is how long is that remote option really going to last for them? You'll remember back in June, CEO James Gorman, he demanded all his workers return to the office by Labor Day. He had said something like, if you want to get paid New York City rates, you have to work in New York City. It's not clear yet if that means that unvaccinated employees will maybe see a pay cut or even lose their jobs. We just don't know yet. Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are also asking workers now to return to the office and confirm that they've been vaccinated. Goldman is using an honor system while JP Morgan wants to see the document. And this is really happening, Sandra, because they want people to be working in person. They want to go back to that culture. And by getting vaccinated, they can start removing those COVID restrictions like wearing masks. And the only federal exception are for folks who have a medical condition, a disability, or perhaps hold religious beliefs that prevent them from getting vaccinated. So now it's kind of a wait and see game, Sandra, as we start to go back to work to see what happens to the folks who refuse to get vaccinated. Sandra?
Nice to see sort of a bustling New York City behind you there, folks out and about, summer tourists.
Do you hear it? Yeah.
We do. Aisha, thank you. So the big question is all of this legal? With us now, George Washington University constitutional law professor, Jonathan Turley. You are the right guy to ask. Jonathan, good to see you. So can these employers require not just that you're vaccinated, but in the case of Morgan Stanley, as you heard Aisha report, can they demand that they see proof of vaccination?
The answer is probably yes. You know, the Constitution is primarily focused on government conduct, not private conduct. But even for government conduct, there was a case in 1905 called Jacobson versus Massachusetts. And that was a case where a man challenged the requirement to get a smallpox vaccine, or you'd have to pay a $5 fine. The Supreme Court said that he could be required to do that. And so the answer is likely yes. The Supreme Court has not really put many restrictions on businesses of this kind. They can cite the CDC recommendation for vaccines, and they can say that this creates a business imperative for them, particularly with the rise of variants like the Delta variant.
Very interesting. So far from what we're hearing, a lot of folks wanting to get back to work and certainly wanting to keep their jobs at these companies are willing to come forward and say they're vaccinated and get back into the building. But there are going to be some workers that have objections to this for health reasons, religious reasons. So are the companies going to have to take that into consideration if somebody is hesitant to get the vaccine for health concerns?
Yeah, Sandra, that is actually the most critical question. On that issue, the courts are going to have to balance, particularly religious objections to the vaccine, against a reasonable basis of requiring a vaccinated workforce. In the background is the Biden administration, which has been signaling to private companies that they would like to see these types of requirements put into place. The fact is that vaccinations have hit a wall. There are a number of people who are not being convinced, even with $1 million lottery giveaways in places like Ohio. there's a lot of people that don't want to get the vaccine. They're concerned about reactions or what they've read about problems that have occurred, or they may have these other objections. The Biden administration has been making clear that they'd like to see private companies step in. If the government requires vaccinations and has some type of vaccine passport, it's going to create a lot of difficulty for the Biden administration. But they can accomplish that by stealth if they can get private companies to do it and to effectively require that type of passport.
It's interesting because common sense has taken us a long way through this pandemic, Jonathan, and you wonder why a company wouldn't just decide, and some are, to say if you choose not to get vaccinated for whatever reason, then if you're going to enter the building and be in the workplace with other vaccinated workers, well, then you should wear a mask and you should still social distance. Why not just allow them to do that?
Yeah, that's the big concern here, is that these companies are becoming surrogates for a government passport system, much in the way that we saw social media companies become surrogates in terms of a censorship program. And so there are concerns there. And whether this is really necessary. You know, I'm giving a speech here in Alabama, and at the beginning of this large conference, they said, all of you who are not vaccinated, we ask that you wear masks, you distance yourself. If you're not feeling well, you speak to someone. So there are lots of responsible organizations that are trying to thread this needle without requiring mandated vaccine proof.
It is certainly going to be a learning process for many of these companies who are so eager to get those workers back. James Gorman at Morgan Stanley, he wants to get people back in the door, get them back to work in the office, like so many of these other Wall Street banks. Great to see you, Jonathan. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.
To the White House now, where city leaders just spoke after meeting with President Joe Biden on crime. Peter Doocy is at the White House.
Oh, dang. I wanted you to hear that Peter Doocy part. Son of a bitch. Let's see, where were we at? Let's see. Hello, caller.
Hello. This is the manager of the fucking president of the possibly new president of the United States, Dana White's manager currently. You son of a bitch.
Vanna White?
Huh?
Vanna White?
What?
Vanna?
Dana. Okay, listen.
Vanna.
Sir.
Vanna White.
Listen, miss.
I'd love to have Vanna White as the new president.
Lady, it's fucking Dana, okay?
Vanna.
Dana fucking White, okay? His last name's White. This goddamn guy obviously owns the white privilege card. I'm glad he purchased one from you, that son of a bitch. He's a real trooper, in my opinion. So shout outs to everybody that bought the white privilege card, ladies and gentlemen. You are all officially in the Ku Klux Klan. Breaking fucking news. And we need more of you. So hopefully we get a whole new stock in and fucking
You can tell people what they are.
Hey,
living in a van
down
down by the river.
Son of a bitch. Do not tell me what to fucking do. Okay,
I'm
you hear
not
me?
telling nobody what to do.
No,
you
you're
are
trying to tell me what to do.
You are.
You're all in the Klan. All of
See?
you.
See? You don't let your people live. You got to pass judgment on them and label them.
Oh, yeah. Klan members.
See, there you
You're
go.
all
There you go.
fucking Mike, you put your fucking goddamn beard on top of your fucking head and boom, you are wearing the fucking Klan hat. You're virtue signaling.
Whatever.
That's what you're doing.
Virtue
That's what you're
signaling?
doing.
How am I virtue signaling?
With the fucking upside down Klan hat on the bottom of your fucking face.
That's virtue signaling, huh?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
You say so.
And you're a racist. And you're fucking selling white privilege cards. How fucking dare you? How dare you? You're that terrible human being. And,
I'm not selling them. I'm giving them away with the Mox
you're
News
selling.
Media package for anyone that donates $10. Anyone that donates $10 or more will receive a Mox News Media package, including your own white privilege card. White privilege trumps everything. This is real, people. A fake white privilege card.
Are we donating to like the local homeless shelter?
What? That's a big term for a guy living down by the river.
Dude, Craig's mom is so freaking hot down here, and I can't help it. So, I'm just
Craig's mom.
saying.
Craig's mom is a very sweet lady.
She is. She's very nice. She cooks very good food and stuff. And
She sends me my own box of cookies every Christmas. Very nice. And she never forgets my birthday either. She's a very nice lady.
The only person on earth that actually remembers your fucking birthday. That's pretty sweet of her.
Yeah, huh?
Not even Craig. How dare him? He's such a piece of shit, you know? I mean, Craig, I swear to God, he is like probably the worst call screener out there in the fucking world, by the way. The guy just fucking...
Craig is not a piece of shit. And I won't let you, the likes of you, refer to Craig in that way, in case you are wondering. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, so let's see. I am out of videos, and I'm getting hungry, and something, and something. So, I could really use about $20 right now. I just need to get like $3.50, and I can go down to the weed store and buy this cake donut weed that I want. It tastes like apple fritters. I have wanted to try apple fritter strain for fucking years, people. Come on, get with the program. I'll share it with you. I'll come out here tomorrow night. If I can just get like $3.50, I'll come out here tomorrow night and I'll share the apple fritter strain with you. Doesn't that sound good? Sounds pretty good to me. All right, so we're out of videos. I don't have any. I've had enough bong hits for the moment. So we do this every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which means we'll be back tomorrow, same Mox time, same Mox channel. Until then. Stay cool, because one of these days, this war is going to end. Stay cool till then.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together, and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.
No matter which mouth you feed on a two-headed snake, it still shits the same turd. But lucky for you, you have Mox News. More than 10 years. More than 60,000 videos. Mox News has been filtering the nonsense and illuminating the bullshit from your mainstream media. Turn off your TV and turn on to Mox News. For over a decade, documenting the socio-political events that have etched and carved the pathways that define today's modern mess, Mox News has been providing clarity while faithfully bringing you today's relevant stories 100% commercial-free and subscription-free. And just like Lady Liberty vows to remain free. But at this time, we're asking you for your help, your patronage, and your support to keep the lights on and the videos rolling. For less than 17 cents per day, you can become a basic subscriber, knowing that your donation is truly making a difference that will help continue bringing the news stories that make a difference in your life. Turn on, tune in, and drop a couple dimes today by clicking the link below or visiting moxnews.com and show your support at any level. From a single one-time donation or dedicated monthly subscriber, do it now in less than 2 minutes. All donations are safe, securely processed, and verified using PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover Card. As always, we're sure you'll find something of interest each and every day. This holiday season, give the gift of Mox. moxnews.com.
I mean, this coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. I wish the coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits, and they cobble together and they don't attack each other. They stay united. Coalition of misfits.